forced marriage, it's not actually allowed in Islam, not just Islam, but not in every other religion. Both the groom and the bride must consent to the marriage. The consent of the woman is essential and must be obtained, and any marriage which is forced is considered to be batil or void. Now, Sumaya, if you look at it, like you said, you could see on our front pages also seeing where the bandits actually trying to take the 16-year-old girl, trying to marry her, which is actually...
They wed her.
Yes. So you could see that that's actually forced. She didn't actually accept. She didn't ask for it.
Nobody would even want to be associated with that kind of person. But, you know, when we're even talking about forced marriage, we can't even look at terrorists, because terrorist is even a bad person already, so he's already going to do something wrong. But we're talking about parents, you know, forcing their kids to marry. We're talking about guardians forcing their kids to marry, because we've seen situations of someone loses their parents and then they stay with their uncle and that kind of situation. And sometimes it's even the parents, it's because of greed. There are different kind of things. Sometimes the parents feel like they see more than you see. Yes, they like, even if they if you should climb a mountain as a child, you
still not see what they
but
actually...
still they keep forgetting that at least they should be loved.
There should be love, and then there should be a little bit of freedom, a bit for the children to actually make a choice.
Exactly.
So you
now,
can
if you know, we spoke about marriage in the previous weeks, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, parents
arranged marriage has something like that. So it's not like you're trying to just subtly tell the child, like, okay, I think this person will be okay, you know, because he's like, okay, Jogara, I think he's fine. Just try to get close to this person and let's see how it works. But then it's different on that situation where you just come, the child doesn't really know this person, and by the time she knows this person, you're telling her that, okay, I need you to marry him because he's my friend's son, or I know he's good, or I know he's rich and all that. That kind of situation would actually make someone feel bad. And we've had situations of, you know, a girl and a boy dating, and then later the boy would tell the girl, I'm sorry, I have to let you go. Exactly. My parents or my family have chosen a bride for me. This
thing you just said actually just happened a couple of weeks ago with someone I actually know, and I literally saw this lady crying herself out every night, and I actually just told her, all you can do is pray at this time, because these are his parents and he has to sort of listen to them. And you know, with some of these religions, the guidance
African culture,
exactly, a man cannot say no to his parents. And you know, Islam actually teaches us that the man has to obey his parents, because his paradise actually lies with them. It's not like us women that when you get married, your paradise is with your husband. So he has to.
And also, it's not only about, you know, the guys being forced. We've seen situation of the girl will be dating someone, and then, because I heard a story of about, say, 5 years ago, where a man, because he is a malam, you know, a scholar, a cleric in Islam, and he knows that he's supposed to guide his girls to, you know, choose a good spouse, but he took advantage of his authority as their father, as, okay, they need to obey him, and forced his 2 girls to marry both men that they do not love. None of them were even given somebody that they love. And at this time, these ladies were already in love with other people.
Certainly.
Exactly. So one of the girls was older, and she said, fine, maybe I'm going to accept it. That's my destiny. The younger one is like, no, I want what I want.
She is fighting.
But then they actually did the marriage. You know, the thing about, you know, say the Christian marriage and the Muslim marriage, where it favors the Christian is that the woman has to be there to receive the ring at least. So you get to choose. I'm not walking down the aisle. But then for the girl, you only need the wali and all that, and the
to be in the
so
mosque.
you don't need to be there. Nobody needs your consent and all that. So the marriage happened, and it was said that the day of that wedding, the younger one was already, was in a room with the one that she's in love with. She wasn't in their house.
Wow.
Now you see where the blame starts coming from, because so the father pushed her to do something. And after she got married, she was taken to the house. She kept disobeying the man. She hates the man.
Definitely. What do you expect?
And you know, marriage comes with, if you do a bad thing, there's already that sad, you get a bad reward.
There's a consequence.
There's consequences for it. So she kept pushing. This guy kept pushing. And at the end of the day, she ran to one of her aunt's house. They brought her back to that same marriage. Like, why do this? She ran again. They brought her back. And then at the last minute, do you know what happened to this girl? She had to take a poison. And before they rushed her to the hospital, she died. So now the father made her die, and we know how committing suicide in the religion is bad.
Not just Islam,
is bad. So that father, because of his selfish interest,
he would have to live with that guilt for the rest of his life.
So we know that parents most times see better than the kids. We know that, but it still doesn't give you the right to sacrifice your child for someone else's son. Because the son of that's her husband actually was in love with her, but she wasn't. So you're putting your child out there for someone else's child.
You know, this actually reminds me of a story that my mom actually once told me. She has this friend that was forced into marriage, and till today this woman hasn't unpacked her bags. She has like 5 boys for this man. They are all grown, married and all, but she is still not there. Her spirit, her soul hasn't been there. So you can imagine how long that has been.
And Fati, if we go deep in Nigerian weddings, in Ariwa wedding, the northern part of Nigeria, a lot of things like this, the marriages are like that. But anyways, we would like you to join in this conversation. The number is on your screen. You get to call us or send us your WhatsApp messages. Do not forget to, of course, write your name and also tell us where you are sending the message from. And if you're calling, call us, tell us your name and your location, and please stay away from your TV set so that we can hear you. All right, we have a caller there. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's your name and location?
Hi, the weekend with you.
Okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from Mina, Niger State.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
The subject of your discussion is so much very vital and very important.
Thank you.
You see, it has become a kind of sad and very, very sad development in this part of the country, especially. Especially the greediness aspect of what two people project out. Every mature girl, I should think that she should be entitled to her freedom to make a choice. Like this bandit, this terrorist, it's happening in my state. It's happening in my state that a terrorist should just come and take over a 16-year-old girl, force her to marry, and the parents are short of what to say. You know, it's a sad development. Like you rightly pointed out, greediness is one of the reasons that some parents allow it to happen. Because they will force this girl not to even make her choice, and forgetting that she has a constitutional right. She has right to make her choice. And it's at the end of the day, the consequence of it is very, very, very bad. This girl may likely end up taking her life, or she may likely end up taking her son's life as a result of the forced marriage that was conducted on her. So with this program now, I think parents will make something out of it to change for better, not to allow themselves, not to force their daughter into forced marriage. I think that is my message.
Thank you so much for that, your contribution, a very interesting one, and that's true. The purpose, you know, of Short CV having this segment is for us to reach the necessary, you know, people associated with particular societal issues to be fixed. So we hope that this message, of course, get to reach the parents, because just like he pointed, it's not about the girl even hurting herself. She could hurt the person she's married to.
That's why we see a lot of cases where a lot of men killing their wives and killing their husbands, you know, because they were forced into this marriage. They don't want it. You don't force people to be in this particular situation.
For the rest of their life. Okay, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. Your name and location, please.
Dr. Batil calling from Jos.
Okay, doctor, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, seriously, the topic you're discussing is really vital, and parents should know that a girl should be able to choose a life partner that she loves, and the person that she can spend her life with, who can make her happy. But there are traditions and cultures that really make a difference. Parents follow traditions and force their children to get married to men that they really don't have the love for. In modern day Nigeria, I think parents need to understand that girls should be able to choose life partners that they can live with, they can be happy with. I see this to be very vital, and I commend you for this program. Continue with it, and I know it's an enlightenment program, and parents would be highly enlightened and allow their children to happily choose the people that they can live with as husbands. I commend you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for that contribution there. At the end of the day, Fatih, the main thing is that the parents, we're not saying that you're wrong, but you're so extreme. We know that sometimes it's all for the best wishes. Like, okay, sometimes it's actually maybe because they're scared of.
For some of them.
Yes,
actually.
it has worked. Yes, and if the spouse that this person is getting married to try a bit harder, they fall in love at the end of the day. So situations like that are happening.
This actually also reminds me when I was 14, when my mom sat me down and said, I'll never force marriage on you. I'll give you the chance and the right to pick whoever you want to get married to. And that has always been. If I find someone I feel is worthy for me to take home, I actually do. And she just tell me, give him a time and see if it works. If it doesn't work, don't force it.
And that's what parents are there for.
And
guidance.
It's actually different because, most of these cases actually is coming from the rural area. It's not actually rampant with educated parents. If the parents have this background, they have an education about certain things, and that's why I think we need to do more of enlightenment to enlighten our parents on what is right and wrong. They should know at what point they're actually crossing the line.
Yes,
so that they don't cross the boundaries and then put their children in situations that they would have to live with that guilt for the rest of their life. Just like the imam that you just mentioned, that his daughter has to kill herself.
True.
And it's not just, the hardship that we are facing now that can actually make people to commit suicide, but things like this, coming from your own family, you're not getting that support that you need, would also actually add to the situation.
All right, we have a caller. Good morning. All right, we lost that call. Go ahead and call us again to reach us, and also send in your messages. Do not forget via WhatsApp to tell us your thoughts on this matter, and also don't forget to share your name and location. All right, so we have another caller there. Good morning. Good morning, are you with us? Okay, I think we lost that call there. So go ahead and call us on the matter, because this is a societal issue that is really disturbing. And when you're forced into marriage and you don't like the person, and you don't even have room to try, it tends to take a toll in your life. Marriage should be that one place that if the world makes you angry and frustrated, you should come back and have that sanctuary, that good that love place. Yes, that it will be your own world.
It should be a safe place.
So if it's not that, then the children suffers also. So we have a call. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Yes, good morning. Your name and location, please.
I am Shehu Musa. I'm calling from Yola.
Okay, Shehu from Yola. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to raise my. I want to wish raise my issue on the effect on post-marriage.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes,
yes,
we can hear you.
Yes. My view is that the issue of forced marriage by parents at this time around have reduced drastically because of the change of the nature of the country entirely. Because sometimes if you leave your daughter to just choose anyone that she wants to marry, there are certain things that she's supposed to know, to understand on that particular person, which sometimes, most of the time, they didn't even put their mind on that part. The only thing they know is love, and love is not the only solution for marriage. You have to, apart from love, you are going to stay with this man forever. So understanding each other is very, very vital. Understanding his parents, where he came from, is very, very vital. So that items is the items that you use to sustain the marriage. Without that ingredient, so most of the marriage that children normally do, it will not last. 1 year, you will see a very young girl, she's divorced, a divorcee. You will even think that she has never married, but they will tell you that she is a divorcee. That is the present situation that we are facing now. So I am not supporting forced marriage, but what I am suggesting is the children should also listen to their parents, because in a normal life, somebody who have already passed that era of married life, they have more experience than you. We can guide you, and you can take his life married as a case study. So this is my little advice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shehu, for that. And I understand where Shehu is coming from. You know, we should listen to the parents and all that. And parents know better. But one thing I just want to call on, Fati, is that parents will know someone as a nice person to the society.
Yeah, but they wouldn't
the
get to
person might not be
the
a
other
good
side
husband.
of the person.
There are situations like that. Parent might know a lady as a good lady in the society. Everyone is like, oh,
that lady,
whose daughter is that? You know, and the person would turn out to be a terrible wife. Situations like that happen. So you might see that, you might think that you have like a focus on someone, you know what that person is like, but then it might turn out really bad.
Show actually made mention of love is not enough. And I actually totally agree with him, because there are other things that we need to look at. You know, you have to be able to learn to understand each other, tolerate each other, learn how you can live with each other's flaws, you know, shortcomings and what have you. It's not just picking who is right and wrong at the same time. You have to get to know each other better before you go into
that. That is true. All right, so we have a message here that will read the first message of the day. It says, good morning. My advice is to parents is that they should not force their children to marry they don't love. They marry whom they don't love. I think that was what he wanted to say, which is really true. Now, this message is from Abubakar Kasim Ibrahim Karanaka. Okay, thank you so much, Abubakar from Plateau State, with that message. A really interesting one there. All right, so we'll move on. We keep saying your messages, but you know, time would permit us to dive into that. Okay, so people, you know, while Shehu is saying that, he's not saying that he agrees with first marriage, but sometimes the parent know better.
Okay, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from, please?
Hello.
Hello, we can
good
hear
morning.
you. Good morning. Your name and location, please.
My name is Idris Mohammed, calling from Lagos.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to I want to contribute to the program on forceful marriage.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
From Lagos. So, see, sometimes what our daughters need might not be the right thing for them. Because we'll first of all look at the definition of marriage. You understand? If you look at the definition of marriage, is acceptance from the parents, from the lady herself and to whom she wants to marry, and the parents, the parents of the lady and the parents of the guy. But sometimes marriage at times turn around. When you look at the guy the lady wants to marry, and first and foremost, you look at his character, the background in which he's coming from. If that's not okay for you, you also have the right to at least stop that marriage. Either she likes it or not. And sometimes you look at, as a man, you will see somebody that is rightful for you. If you look at him, his character, the background in which he's coming from, it's okay by you as a father. You can equally refer that to your daughter. Because every parent means well for their daughter. What the daughter wants might not be the right thing for her. So we the parents also will stand at the chance to resist that. So we don't look at forceful marriage as something. Nobody forces her daughter to any marriage. But at the end of the day, if the lady follow the wish of her parents, we should not regret whatever she wants to do. Because there's a prayer from parents that will guide her. You understand? But sometimes we will go by with the physical civilization we are seeing now, that a lady has the right to choose whom she wants. Yes, she has. But sometimes what she wants may not be the right thing for her. So that's why we, the parents, are here to checkmate that. You understand what I'm saying? So that just it. This has two sides. It may turn, what she wants may turn to be the right thing for her, and what you want may not turn to be the right thing for her. So you will correct her. So what I will advise is that they should follow their parents and the social submission to their parents. I think that if we can do that now, look at some marriages that died, some of the marriages that lead to divorce, maybe like what one of the last callers said, common matches will lead to marriage divorce. Or poverty will lead to marriage divorce. But all these things, if you follow, because like me particular that I'm contributing to this program, I have two sisters. These two sisters, my father gave them out to marriage. They don't like whom they want to marry. But believe me honestly, they are doing fine in their husband's house now. They don't like whom the father referred for them, but they don't have an option. They have to follow the father's wish, and they're happy there.
But could it be that the way the father actually went through convincing them to marry the person actually made it to turn out not to be like a forced marriage?
It all depends how they look at it. Let's assume I am a man. I'm giving an example. I am a man.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's assume I'm a man. I'm a jobless man. I don't have anything doing. I'm giving an instance here. Then I met you. I keep telling you lies. You don't know anything about me. And at the end of the day, I find my way into your heart. And you agreed with me that, yeah, I'm the man I want, the kind of man you want, because I'm telling you lies. You don't know anything about me. Because a man can hide his true identity for you for even numbers of years. You understand what I'm saying? But if you allow fathers to be in charge or control of your marriage affairs, they will go ahead to make so many findings, investigation about this guy. If the guy is okay, they will allow the marriage to go. No parents will want a wrong thing for a daughter. You understand? So okay, look at our girls now. They'll go and bring a drunk addict as a husband. They without knowing anything about them. You know, so is that the kind of person you want your daughter to marry?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You are doing a grateful thing. Please
thank you so much for that wonderful contribution there. All right, so before we talked on what he said, I will take a message because we have been receiving a lot of messages. There's this one. It says it's unfortunate that broadcasting ethics will not allow us, of course, to show a picture, because he sent the message with a picture on the screen. It says this is an ancient result from forced marriage in Jos Plateau State. The young lady slaughtered the man that she was forced to marry. She took this action because after all efforts to get out of the marriage, her parents always returned her to the guy. Then this evil idea came to her. I really wonder why some men even sit back and allow a lady to be forced into their lives. Indeed. Now, this message is for Salu from Abuja. Thank you so much, Salu, for that amazing, message. And honestly, it is a sad one because there's a picture of the man,
actually
like slaughtered.
Yes.
A very bad one. And this, you're putting this girl, and she's a young girl, obviously. So you're putting her in a tight situation where already you're giving room to the devil to come and tell her, okay, do this.
Because she was forced.
And we don't even know how
she wasn't getting the support that she needed.
Exactly.
And this is not just actually happening in Nigeria alone. It's also takes us across the globe.
Yes.
It's happening in the Asian world. Like you could see even in India, other women actually burning, lightening themselves with fire to kill themselves and all. I was watching a story of recently of a 16-year-old girl in India that was forced into marriage, and when she refused, her parents actually killed her. They killed her themselves because she refused to listen to them, to do what they actually wanted her to do. They actually chose a man, and she didn't like him, and she said no, just like the lady that you mentioned earlier. And she said no, they killed her. How can you have a child that you carried for 9 months, and just because they said no to a marriage proposal, and you still go ahead to end their lives? And I think that's where we have more of domestic abuses and violence, playing the game in marriages nowadays. And not just that, we couldn't say, oh, this is what has happened. Even in the case of Mariam Sanda, what has happened is at that point you could see women actually slaughtering and stabbing and killing their husbands, and it's vice versa. So it's something that parents really need to look at, because you wouldn't want to see your child being locked up in a prison cell for years because they committed murder. And that's simply because of this particular mistake that you made, because you actually couldn't give them the chance to choose who they want to be with. For one, if I marry someone I don't want, definitely I wouldn't obey him.
True.
Because the love is not there for me to want to do things willingly to please the person. And that is where we get it wrong. We don't want to get married and come out. We want to stay. We want to be able to support each other, not just because we want to be there for the sake of it.
Now, the previous caller, spoke about how we should listen to the parents. The parents have, sometimes the girls bring a bad person, or the boy bring a bad person, and even at that was why we said the parents should guide. If you see this person and you would sit down with your child and say, okay, this girl you're bringing is not okay, so don't do, and this guy you're bringing is not okay. Why don't you think so would be better? I
remember you made mention of similar situation before you got married, when you told your dad you're going to bring someone, check him out and see if you're okay with him, fine. Indeed. If you're not, and then so that's actually our parents giving us the chance to actually pick what we want. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. All right, so we lost the caller there. All right, let's take a message here, a really, should I say, detailed message. He said, forced marriage in Nigeria has significant social, economic, and psychological implications, where he mentioned violation of human rights. Yes, it's about, forced marriage infringes upon the basic human rights of individuals, particularly women and girls, by denying them the right to choose their partners and make decisions about their own life. We're talking about 21st century here. And then he moved to gender inequality. Now, this practice reinforces gender inequalities. perpetuating the idea that women are subordinate to men and should conform to societal norms and expectations. Now, we all know that women are more forced into marriage than men, because men can easily rebel and the parents will just give in.
And they are men.
Yes, they will give
it's
in.
It's not the same.
But a woman can rebel forever, run, and then they bring you back. They
could actually deny her. They could disown her.
Indeed. Okay, so he moved to health risk. He said early forced marriage often lead to early pregnancies, which increase health risks for both mothers and infants. Lack of education and access to healthcare further exacerbate this risk. Let's not forget a story of a man that divorced his wife because a male doctor touched her.
Yes,
a really sad situation.
Weeks ago, yeah.
He said education barriers, forced marriages often result to discontinuation of education, particularly for girls. That's true. He said economic consequences, interrupted education and limited skills will lead to reduced employability. That's true. And when a girl even finally is settling with you, she doesn't like you much, but then she's forcing herself to stay and she's not really pushing herself to be a better person for the society.
You know,
she's not
now let's not forget the what our religion has teached us. You know, like you can't get married and not be obedient. So to some extent, even though her mind, her heart, her soul is not there, she would want to do things to please him because she wouldn't want to be a sinner at this point.
So our,
you know, because we know that there's a consequence for not obeying your husband. If you don't listen to him, like I said earlier, it's different for the men because their paradise lies with their parents, but for the woman is with the husband. And that's
so
what
imagine trying so hard,
you're trying so hard, but you know you're trying, but then your mind is still not there.
Very sad to give up there. Moving on, he said the psychological impact, where he mentioned forced marriage can result to severe psychological distress. Yes, and people could, you know, fall into depression, hating themselves, helplessness, especially in marriages that are abusive. Yes, we've had situation of abusive
domestic
marriages that were forced and they were still abusing it, and you don't get to tell your parent because they won't even believe you. They'll say, and in the first place, you hated the person, so you're just trying to just lie against that person. A really sad, terrible situation. We have child rights. He said forced marriage involving minors violates child protection laws. And domestic violence, of course, forced marriage can likely lead to abusive one, you know, just like the previous message that said that the lady slaughtered the man. So it's a both way thing. The woman can just decide to keep slapping or hitting the man, that is if he's the calm one, or it could be vice versa. A sad one there. We have cultural and social stigma. Victims are forced into marriage they may force or face societal stigma, making it difficult for them to seek help, yes, or to escape, yes, because even though your family are not believing you, you can't even tell other people that you're going through this particular, they won't believe you. And we have legal and policy challenges. Despite legal frameworks against forced marriage, enforcement can be challenging due to cultural norms, lack of awareness, and inadequate resources. Now, Fatih mentioned that lack of awareness, saying they should create awareness for, you know, enlightenment for parents and family not to do that to their child. And if the child is really stuck in a situation, then she or he should have a conversation with the parent, find a way through it, you know, to make it a better society. We can't have sad people, you know, coming out in the society. If someone is happy in their marriage, you would see it on them. If someone is sad, you would see it on them.
That's why we have more of the violence. Even with, like, you don't really have to be married to a particular person for them to abuse you. On the street, you could be walking and you could just see a man trying to abuse you. You know, that's because maybe he grew up in a house where there's domestic violence. He has seen his parents, and that's because the parents are not actually in love with each other. They have to live with each other because their parents actually chose these people for them.
That is true. Okay, so this message roundup was saying addressing the implications of forced marriage in Nigeria requires comprehensive efforts that involved legal reforms, education, awareness, campaigns, and support systems for victims. This message was sent to us by Joel Baba Alpha, conflict manager. Just coming from Jos Plateau State. Thank you so much, Joel.
Explanation.
Indeed,
of
he went deep.
You know, at the same time, I wanted to make mention of the fact that, you know, there's a law that is guiding this particular act, like it's a crime to forced marriage on
anybody.
And you know, it's not just 2-year imprisonment. The 500,000 fine is too little for me. And I understand that there are some children that wouldn't want to throw their parents under the bus. You know, they wouldn't want to come out and say, oh yeah, my family actually forced me into marriage. And it's not just about the parents also, Sumaya, and let's not forget uncles, aunties. I have some certain uncles that I don't want to even pick their calls, because the first thing they'll ask you is, where's our in-law? and I got tired of that, and I don't want to even pick their calls, you know, because they wouldn't want to understand that, okay, I am actually trying, and I'm trying to choose who is right and the best for me.
That's true.
And I wouldn't just want to be the one that should choose him. He should also choose me.
That's true.
So give me the time to get to know the people I would want to be with.
All right, so we have messages a lot coming in. There's a message here that says forced marriage is supposed to be outdated. You know, it's nowadays because it leads to chaos between the couples and poor upbringing of children. That's from architect Chinedu. Yeah, architect Chinedu, thank you so much for that message. All right, so we have a caller there. Good morning. All right, we lost that caller. Go ahead and call or send us your messages. We are seeing a lot of message, and of course, we know that these are situations that need to be told out there. And even though we're not faulting everybody on the issue, we're trying to.
You know, earlier we made mention of the fact that it has actually worked for some people. The family actually chose the groom or the bride, and they grew up to love themselves, and things are fine. You know. So the thing is, sometimes our parents will tell us, yeah, just marry him even if you don't love him. You grow to love him, but it doesn't work like that. But then I know that it has worked for certain people that I know. Okay. Hello, good morning. Please, your name and your location. Okay, we've lost that caller.
Please go ahead and call us.
Yes. Do call us back again. So, you know, like I was saying, it's the parents. It's not just about the parents. Uncles, sometimes you could actually see parents are not forcing their kids to do something, but the uncles will keep coming.
Yes, they keep pushing.
You know, they keep pushing. A month ago or so, a friend of mine called and said his uncles were actually, you know, putting pressure on him that they've chosen a wife for him, and he said no. Just like you mentioned that a man can be rebellious and, you know, say no, and because he's a man he can decide to move out, but for a woman you have to be. We're told that you have to be in 3 places for the rest of your life, from your parents to your husband's house and then to your grave. So you cannot be rebellious and say, okay, I'm leaving my parents' house because they are trying to force certain things on me.
It's like there is no space for a lady to say no, but there is room for a guy to. Okay, we'll take this message. It says forced marriage can have a negative impact on a child's health and development, and can also result in sexual violence, including rape. Yes, this story was sent by Galton Ilya from Bauchi State. Thank you so much, Galton, for that. Yes, we you know, talking about the violence, you know, it's really a sad situation, because we have that kind of situation when you're talking about the first time, you know, for married couple, when there is no love, it becomes a forced, you know, sexual act between those couples. So
I'm sure you wouldn't even want him to be close, because I've seen a couple of friends coming to tell me, oh, he sleeps in the sitting room while I'm in the room. That's because they can't even stand each other.
Imagine, you know, and you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with this person.
You know, so it's actually really difficult.
It's really a sad situation there. All I want to say thank you so much for all of you that called and sent in messages. A lot of messages are here that we weren't able to read, but thank you so much for staying with us. We hope that next week, when we bring you another topical issues, societal issues, you get to call us and send in your messages where we can be able to display on our screen.